The Vikings, a name that evokes images of fierce warriors, daring explorers, and seafaring adventurers who shaped history in ways both legendary and real. But who were these people? What drove them to venture far beyond their Scandinavian homelands, leaving their mark on Europe and beyond? This is the story of the Vikings, a tale of conquest, culture, and resilience. Our story begins in the late 8th century, in what we now know as Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. These lands, dominated by rugged terrain and harsh climates, were home to fiercely independent tribes. Known as Norsemen or Northmen, they relied on agriculture, fishing, and trading to survive. But the limited arable land and the pressures of growing populations forced them to look outward. This need for resources set the stage for what historians call the Viking Age, spanning from roughly 793 to 1066 CE. The Vikings were master shipbuilders, and their long ships became the key to their dominance. These vessels, with their shallow drafts, could navigate both the open sea and shallow rivers. They were fast, durable, and capable of carrying warriors to distant lands. Armed with these technological marvels, the Vikings began their first raids. In 793, the attack on the monastery of Lindisfarne in England marked the dawn of the Viking Age. This raid, shocking for its brutality, set the tone for the years to come. The Vikings weren't just raiders, they were explorers and settlers. Over the next 2 centuries, they expanded far and wide. They established settlements in England, Ireland, and Scotland, even founding cities like Dublin. In France, they became known as the Normans, Northmen, and were granted land in Normandy. In Eastern Europe, they navigated rivers like the Dnieper and the Volga, trading as far as Constantinople. Some even ventured to the distant shores of North America, where Leif Erikson is believed to have landed in what they called Vinland, nearly 500 years before Columbus. But the Vikings were more than just warriors and explorers. They were skilled traders, connecting distant parts of the medieval world. Their trade networks stretched from the North Atlantic to the Middle East. They traded furs, amber, and walrus ivory in exchange for silver, spices, and silk. The Vikings also influenced the cultures they encountered. In England, they left behind Norse words and place names. In Russia, they helped shape the early Kievan Rus state. Even their mythology, with gods like Odin, Thor, and Freya, became woven into the fabric of European folklore. Viking society was complex, governed by traditions and laws. At the heart of their governance was the Thing, an assembly where free men gathered to resolve disputes and make decisions. These early democratic practices reflected a society that valued honor and fairness, even as they waged war and raided foreign lands. Of course, the Vikings' legacy is inseparable from their prowess as warriors. Armed with axes, swords, and shields, they were formidable foes. Their tactics relied on speed and surprise, overwhelming their enemies before they could mount a defense. One of their most famous leaders was Ragnar Lothbrok, a semi-legendary figure said to have led daring raids on Paris and England. Though historians debate his existence, figures like him embodied the Viking spirit, bold, ambitious, and unrelenting. But the Viking Age was not to last forever. As European kingdoms grew stronger and better organized, they began to push back. In 1066, the Battle of Stamford Bridge marked the end of the Viking Age. King Harold Godwinson of England defeated the forces of Harald Hardrada, the last great Viking king, in a decisive battle. By this time, many Vikings had settled into the lands they once raided, adopting Christianity and integrating into European societies. Their legacy, however, was far from over. Today, the Vikings are remembered as more than just warriors. They were pioneers of exploration, innovators in shipbuilding, and traders who connected the medieval world. Their sagas and myths continue to inspire, from literature and films to cultural festivals and reenactments. The threads of Viking history stretch across continents and centuries, leaving an indelible mark on the world. Their story is a reminder of the human spirit's boundless curiosity and resilience. This has been the entire history of the Vikings. Explorers, warriors, and a people who dared to dream beyond the horizon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to explore more incredible stories from the threads of history. And thanks for listening.